In the midst of a bustling metropolis, picture a lovely garden. The vibrant colors of the flowers are overwhelming, yet it's difficult to appreciate their pleasant aroma and beauty because of the cacophony from the automobiles and buses. Imagine now a smart gardener who chooses to go without talking for the entire day. When he shuts off the loud machinery, the hammering and the chatting, a profound silence descends upon the room while he tends to the plants. He makes friends with this stillness. In addition to listening to the tranquil sounds of nature, he observes each leaf and bug. In this silence, he finds a very unique means of expression. It's as if the plants are speaking to him, and he notices things he had never noticed before. He has a relationship with the garden that is even more profound than words can convey. He is like a patient observer. Number 1 in foreign language. You will hear more if you are silent. This gardener serves as a reminder that often the most subtle solutions can be found in silence, even in the middle of life's tumult. He shows us that genuine communication occurs not just in words, but also in the pauses that occur between them. When we remove ourselves from the continual commotion, our thoughts can blossom in the same way that a garden can thrive when it is touched by solitude. By remaining silent, we put words aside and allow other voices to be heard that might have otherwise been muffled by incessant chatter. Stillness within and without allows us to listen well, allowing our senses to take in their environment and the information they convey. The lesson is that silence is a language unto itself, capable of expressing deep meanings beyond the reach of words. It is more than just the lack of sound. Silence enables us to listen more intently, to create, to find calm, and to reconnect with what really matters in a world when distractions are everywhere. We learn from this and ultimately get wiser and smarter as a result. If we don't keep quiet, we just tell them what we already know and don't learn anything. Intense contemplation and inner quiet are the foundations of wisdom, Socrates stated. Anne Frank, a well-known Jewish Holocaust victim, states, "In silence, my truest words come to life, and I find the strength to face the world." These voices aid in our environmental awareness, danger detection, and opportunity recognition, things that we may have missed if we were preoccupied with conversation. We can also learn more about ourselves thanks to it. Often we are so preoccupied with thinking and deciphering that we ignore the inner voices that are attempting to communicate with us. Silence can also result in deeper spiritual and intellectual insight. Individuals often confuse themselves with their thoughts, thinking that we are simply sums of our thoughts, and that we are only thinking. This is because individuals tend to identify with their thoughts. The Buddha taught that we are not our thoughts. We will find that all of our notions, concepts, and identities are ephemeral if we still our minds and watch what is going on within. Buddha therefore held that there is no such thing as a fixed self in actuality. It is only through silence that we can reveal the deceptive character of mind. We watch and identify them for what they are. Second, quietness fosters self-control and self-mastery. Viktor Frankl, a famous psychologist and Holocaust survivor, wrote about his experiences in Nazi concentration camps. He saw that despite their harsh circumstances, inmates frequently found strength in solitude. They were able to retain their mental stability and sense of purpose amidst upheaval by establishing a zone of self-control and self-sufficiency through silence. Prisoners who practiced meditation reported having better self-control, less stress, and the capacity to react more positively to difficult circumstances, according to research on meditation programs in jails. The capacity to hold back from speaking, particularly in difficult or stressful circumstances, shows emotional maturity and self-control because it demands self-control over the urge to talk. It also permits pausing to think things through before answering, preventing misunderstandings and selecting words with care. Fasting and silence were common tactics of protest used by Mahatma Gandhi throughout his non-violent resistance efforts in colonial India. He showed that even in the absence of words, his deeds spoke clearly by using quiet to convey his resolve and composure in the face of injustice. During his years of incarceration, South African lawyer, rebel leader, and President Nelson Mandela employed quiet as a tactic to uphold his dignity and fend against injustice. He was imprisoned for several years, subjected to harsh treatment and isolation, but his fortitude and capacity for silent resistance were essential to his eventual release and his leadership in the anti-apartheid movement. Better communication and stronger interpersonal interactions are promoted by silence, which aids in the development of impulse control. Third point, quiet can convey a strong message. A silent gesture can convey ideas more effectively than words in a number of situations. We can effectively communicate without speaking or writing when we answer silently and use appropriate pauses throughout dialogues. A well-known instance of Dutch silent ceremonies demonstrates the potency of silence in communication. We can communicate through it what words cannot. The intricacy of the human experience is frequently too complex to be adequately captured by the words uttered, the ideas exchanged, or even the promises made. Silence in the face of tragedy is special because it recognizes that words cannot adequately convey the feelings we want to convey. The simple act of halting and remaining silent to celebrate and praise something or someone has deep symbolic resonance. There is nothing quite like this gesture to express respect. It speaks louder than words can. There is inherent power in using silence strategically. According to American writer Mark Twain, timing is crucial when choosing words, but a thoughtful pause can have even greater impact. Empirical research indicates that silence during a conversation might feel awkward after just 2 seconds. Gaining proficiency with the use of pauses in conversation can help us accomplish our objectives. When there is a pause in a conversation, people typically feel uncomfortable and wonder things like, "Did I say something wrong? Or does this person not like me?" People on the receiving end are frequently compelled to make a choice as a result of this discomfort, trying to fill the ambiguous space that silence in communication produces. This may work to the person's favor when they decide when to keep quiet. There's also the added benefit of silence sometimes being a safer option than speaking in some circumstances. There are times when voicing our views could make it weaker. In these situations, listening is wise. By not pretending to be informed about something we genuinely know very little about, we avoid looking incompetent and instead give ourselves the chance to learn. Many people admire sincere curiosity and a willingness to listen, which can be shown by choosing silence. "Often I regretted having spoken, never that I remained silent," stated Roman author Seneca. The significance of exercising discernment in determining when to speak and when to remain silent is highlighted by this realization. Fourthly, quiet improves well-being. In an increasingly complex world where minds are continuously racing, silence is a great salve. Many anecdotes and first-hand accounts from all throughout history attest to the fact that stillness can be the key to soothing inner storms. Studies support the idea that quiet not only helps the mind, but also enhances sleep quality and lowers the incidence of insomnia. According to a recent study, even 2 minutes of quiet are more calming than 2 minutes of calming music. The interesting fact is that exposure to ambient noise on a regular basis can be harmful. The constant deluge of noise that can cause our stress hormone levels to rise our bodily and mental well-being as it envelops us. A wise lesson considering the growing number of noisy equipment in our modern life was once pointed out. We seriously misjudge the detrimental effects of noise. It's amazing how little patches of quiet can become havens of peace in the middle of all this commotion. They give us a way out of the constant onslaught of information that we are exposed to every day. Stillness has an almost magical quality to it. Whether one is in quiet meditation, lost in thought over a remote landscape, or just taking a closed-eye nap in a dimly lit room, we feel rejuvenated here. Even in its most basic and peaceful forms, silence has incredible power. Even though there are no words to describe this language, the most amazing thing is that we can all understand it. It has the clarity, coziness, and density of a shared secret while remaining enigmatic. And best of all, we can all access it. We appreciate your patience as you watch the entire video. How do you feel about silence's power? Please give your thoughts. It would please me much to read your response. If you're new here, you might want to subscribe so you can interact with our community. See you shortly.